Berenstain Bear's Christmas Tree. In Bear Country, Christmas excitement was mounting. The waiting was down to 10 hours and counting. The holly was hung, the presents were bought. A magnificent Christmas, salmon was caught. The cubs set up the nativity scene and even made paper chains of yellow and green. And now it was time for the most fun of all, getting the tree. A tree full and fat, straight, green, and tall, with oodles of needles and crannies and nooks for bears to hang their tree things by hooks. The tree things, cried Pop, with the jolliest shout, our wonderful tree things. Let's get them out. They had quite a collection. There were bangles and bells and bright-colored balls. Boxes of things in closets and cupboards and corners of halls. There were some that were heirlooms, saved year after year. A miniature sled with tiny reindeer. Their nativity scene with baby Jesus so dear.
String of bright beads to hang in festoons.
A musical bear that sang Christmassy tunes. But the bears' finest tree thing, their finest by far, was a thing for the top, their Christmas tree star. It had 18 points and was so glittery bright that only the first Christmas star could dim it so bright. What an array, what a display! Papa Bear bragged, quite carried away. What a grand and glorious sight it will be when we hang all this stuff on our Christmas tree. Why, bears will come from near and far to see how Christmassy we are. So all the bears needed now, don't you see? All that they needed now was a tree. A tree straight and tall, fine, full, and fat. Come, cubs, said Papa, as he put on his hat. Now be sure to dress warmly, said wise Mama Bear. There's more than a hint of snow in the air. And oh yes, buy our tree down the road from Grizzly Gus. I am sure he will have the right tree for us. Snow? Said Papa, sniffing the air. Not a chance. The weather today will be bright and fair. I always can tell if it's going to snow by a sharp shooting pain in my left big toe. As for Gus and those trees lying in stacks, not for us, Papa said, as he took up his axe. But Papa, said Brother, Mama knows best. Grizzly Gus and his family have surely been blessed with the loveliest trees around. One of his trees. Said Papa. No way. I'll show you where the best trees are this chilly day. Now, brother and sister usually did what Mum said, but not Papa. He did whatever came to his head. And a fine fat tree is what came into his head that particular Christmas. No matter what, no matter where, if it means going down to the Panama Isthmus, if it means climbing up the top of Pikes Peak, I will find it, he said, if it takes us all week.
For Christmas,
Said Sis.
it's just hour away.
We must find our Christmas tree today. Christmas Eve services and the nativity play. But Pop didn't hear. By now, he was really quite carried away. He was forgetting something that day. That Christmas is more than a show and display. More than just tinsel and pink plastic stars and stuffing yourself with sugar nut bars. There was something important that he was forgetting. Christmas is for giving. It isn't forgetting. This was a time to be thinking of others. Mamas, papas, sisters, brothers. A time to think of each other, neighbor and friend. But all that was forgotten as they rounded the bend. As they rounded that bend, what did they see? Papa's perfect Christmas tree. What a tree! What a tree! This surely was it. Its green was so green, its tall didn't quit. Its nooks had crannies. Its crannies had nooks. The one question was, would they have enough hooks? A great gift from God to all of nature, to be fully appreciated by each wild creature. Stand back, said Papa, getting ready to chop.
Wait,
Sister cried.
hold it. Please stop.
Yay! On that timely advice of small Sister Bear, Pa managed to stop his axe in mid-air. And a good thing, too, for that Christmas tree's trunk just happened to be the home of a skunk. And some squirrels and a grouse, and one small chipmunk also resided in that Christmas tree's trunk. Plus 26 crows who were renting upstairs. And not one of them happy to see those three bears. Though this tree, said Papa, seemed a find, it isn't quite what I had in mind. There was something else Pa had in mind as they rapidly left Mr. Skunk's tree behind. The coming great day was the skunk's Christmas too, and the squirrels and the chipmunks. If he chopped down their tree, what would they do? And the crows and the grouse, what would they do if they chopped down their house? Where would they have their hollies and bells, their Christmas goodies, their Christmassy smells? How would they enjoy their Christmas feast, with family and friends sharing God's saving peace? But such questions as those did not bother Papa, not in the least. His head was so filled with his bangles and bells, his bright-colored balls, his tree things stacked up in those closets and halls that wasn't room for anything more. Onward, he cried, and the bears pressed on with their Christmas tree chore. We will find the right tree, we must, and we will. I will ford any stream, climb any hill, go over Niagara Falls on a log, penetrate the impenetrable fog, brave the terrors of sinister bog. We will find the Christmas tree so we seek. We will find it, said he, if it takes us a week.
But please,
said Sister.
we must find a tree soon.
She's right, Dad, said Brother. It's late afternoon. A tree, cried Papa. Fine, full, and fat, straight, green, and tall. And at that very moment, the snow Mum predicted started to fall. Remember, said Dad, a Christmas tree is something we cannot do without. Because a tree, like that one straight ahead, is what Christmas is all about. Which made Sister Bear look at her brother. Christmas was so much more, according to their mother. But without so much as a passing thought about whether he should or whether he ought, Papa raised his axe and got ready to chop. Stand back, he said, reckoning where the tree would drop. It was quite a fine tree, sedate and tall, graceful and regal. It also happened to be the home of an eagle and a hawk and a wolf and a great snowy owl. The eagle took off while the hawk and the wolf and the great snowy owl set up a terrible, terrible howl. The noise seemed to come from every direction. Then, Mr. Eagle expressed his objection. Every bear country resident needs a home safe and sound. And the eagle turned Papa Bear's thoughts right around.
Log.
No, that tree back there wasn't quite it. Its green was too green, and it leaned a bit. It wasn't quite what I had in mind. Come, we still have a tree to find. Completely ignoring Papa's big toe, the snow had become a really big snow. The snow of snows, a blizzard of blizzards. Why, there was snow on the ground up to their gizzards. Up the mountain, follow me. I will find one soon. You'll see, you'll see. I certainly
hope so,
said Sister, quite worried. That's right, added Brother. In a snow like this, a bear can get buried. But Papa pressed on with just one thing in mind, the perfect tree he was going to find. Full and fat, he cried, tall and green, the finest tree you've ever seen. Now that is the kind of tree I need.
Hurry!
Said sister.
Chop it down.
Yes, said brother.
We still have time to get back to town.
But Pop was silent as he looked at that tree. Strangely silent. What did he see? What Papa saw through the driving snow was a tiny window. Within, a glow. Pop hardly breathed. He spoke not a word. What he saw through the window was a tiny snowbird, busily trimming his Christmas tree with the help of the members of his family. The tree was a twig decorated with seeds that the tiny snowbirds had collected from weeds. And for the first time that day, Papa saw Christmas in a different way. Maybe it was the tiny twig tree, or maybe the seeds that helped Papa see the other guy's needs. But whatever it was, Pa shouldered his axe and spared the tree. He remembered what Christmas is really about. He'd had it all backward and inside out. This, said Pop, with a far-off Christmassy look in his eye, is a time to think of the other guy. A time, he continued, to be thinking of others, to show love and respect to your sisters and brothers, and to treat them all with kindness and concern. It had just taken Papa Bear a little long to learn. Those Sunday school lessons which seemed so far away had stayed in Papa's heart till that Christmas day.
But Papa,
Said Sis.
what about our tree? The tree for our bells. Our bright colored bells.
Yeah, added brother. And all the stuff in our closets and halls. No problem, said Pa. There's no need to fuss. We'll go back and buy one from Grizzly Gus. Grizzly Gus? Both cubs said together.
After the trip and the car and this weather,
Don't bother me with questions, said Pop. Then he found an old stump and started to chop. And quick as a flash, there were 3 pairs of skis. Here, Papa said, slip into these. So Pop and the cubs put on skis and went back for one of old Grizzly's trees. But when they got back to the Christmas tree lot, the lot was still there, but the trees were not. Only a sign saying, "Sorry, sold out," and some tired old needles lying about. When Sis saw those needles, well, she thought she might cry, but then something wondrous caught her eye.
look,
She shouted.
somebody has decorated our house.
And somebody had. The chipmunk, the skunk, the crows, and the grouse, the eagle, the owl, and all the others, and quite a few of their sisters and brothers, were returning their kindness. Pa showed those snowbirds. The bears, they were speechless. They just had no words. All of the bears, tree things were there. The bangles, the bells, the musical bear, the Christmas tree star, the beads, green and red. Why, everything's shining, Sister suddenly said. Then a very special starry light filled the sky that Christmas Eve night. It didn't come from that pink plastic star. It was the light of the real Christmas star. The Christmas spirit shone down that night. It filled the whole sky with a lovely light. It charged the cold, clear bear country air. It filled the heart of every bear and their fellow creatures, one and all. Nature's creatures, great and small. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. The end.